Hi, my name is Pastor Ayanna, and the words of transformation that I'm going to share with you today are go harder. That's right, that's the word for today, is to go harder. There are times in your life when you need something, desire something from the Lord, you are going to have to go harder because you're going to face opposition. And the example that I want to come from is found in Mark chapter 10, verses 46 through 52. Then they came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, a blind man, Bartimaeus, that is, the son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." I just want to pause really briefly and just bring out two principles. The first principle is that Bartimaeus was blind. He had not seen Jesus yet, but he heard about him. And that's the situation that some of you are in right now. You haven't seen the Lord provide for you yet. You haven't seen the Lord heal you yet. You haven't seen the Lord deliver you yet. You haven't seen the manifestation of God yet. But you heard about him. You heard that he is a provider. You heard that he's a healer. You heard that he's a deliverer. And so Bartimaeus, he didn't see it yet. He was blind. But because he heard and he was able to discern that the Lord was around, he began to cry out. He began to yell and ask for the Lord to have mercy on him. The second principle is that in verse 48, it said, many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more. Listen, anytime you're trying to go forward in the things of God, you are going to receive opposition. The opposition is designed to stop you and to shut you down and to shut you out and to make you not continue to seek and not continue to do what you know is needed. Bartimaeus, it was needed for him to continue to keep crying out. It was needed for him. If he wanted that vision, he was blind, if he wanted to be able to see, he knew that there was something that he needed to do. And he wasn't going to allow the opinions of people. He wasn't going to allow maybe even his own doubts or temptations to stop him from seeking after the Lord. And that's exactly what he continued to do. Despite the people that was trying to tell him to be quiet, he shouted even the more. The Bible doesn't say that he shouted and he continued to do what he at the same level. No, it said he did more. So that's why I said sometimes you're going to have to go harder. If you were able to get a response from the enemy, whether all of a sudden you're doing the right thing and now you're faced with some great temptation, recognize that that is just a trick from the enemy, and just keep going harder. Do what you were doing as you were seeking after the Lord, as you was going after him. You know, there might be times that you were having doubts and you say, I've been praying for some time and it doesn't seem like it's working, it doesn't seem like this is happening. Those are just attacks, whether they're external attacks, meaning other people, or whether it's internal attacks, meaning it's yourself. You have to learn to recognize that those attacks are meant to stop you from seeking after the one who has what you need and what you desire. And we see that Bartimaeus had that revelation, obviously, because he did not stop. He kept going. And as a result of verse 48 or 49, it says, Jesus stopped and said, call him. So he was able, because he did not allow other people to stop him, because he did not allow other people to shut him down, he stopped Jesus in his track. And Jesus said, call him. Basically, go get him. So they called to the blind man, cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you. Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and he came to Jesus. What do you want me to do for you? Jesus asked. The blind man said, Rabbi, I want to see. Go, said Jesus. Your faith has healed you. Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. As you see, because he did not allow any opposition to stop him, as you see, he kept going, and he did it even a little bit harder. Jesus stopped and called them. And finally, he comes face to face. Now he's extremely close to him, and Jesus says to him, what do you want me to do for you? Can you ever imagine that as you're doing the things that God has required for you, as you're praying, as you're fasting, as you're doing whatever it is that is drawing him and drawing him closer to you, he eventually says, what is it that you want? What can I do for you? Let me tell you something. This might have happened all these years ago in Bartimaeus' age, but it's also happening for us as well. And so Bartimaeus told him, I want to see. I want to see. And you know what? We could be able to say the same thing. Lord, I want to see the blessings that you have over my life. I want to see for myself that you are a deliverer. I want to see for myself that you are a healer. I want to see that you're able to answer this prayer for this family member. I've been praying for a long time. The enemy is telling me that it's worthless, is useless, but I want to see because I believe that you are able to do it, and I want to see it. And then it says, Jesus said, go, your faith has healed you. Because you held on, because you did not allow opposition to stop you, because you kept going harder, because you kept seeking after me, your faith, that faith that gave you and gave you that push to keep going and to go harder has now healed you. It has now allowed you to see the very thing that you've been asking for. In Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 it says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. A lot of times people don't receive their harvest or don't see their prayers answered because they have given up. And when opposition came and people were shutting them down and shutting them out, instead of them going harder, they chose to give up. And they did not see the manifestation. But I want to challenge you today that whenever you start to feel that desire to give up, or that desire that it's not worth it, or to put it off for later, all those different things to stop you, I want to challenge you to go harder. Let me give you an example. This is, I don't know how many takes that I've taken from this little video clip that probably will be about 5 minutes or so. I had one and I looked, I said, it's perfect. And somehow I mistakenly erased it before I was able to upload it. My mind was saying, forget it. You're tired, you know, you have a speaking engagement tonight, you have different things that you need to be doing, just forget about it. But you know what? Because I had already spoken that word, I said, you know, I have to go harder. I'm going to push a little bit more. I don't know who this message is for. I don't know what you've been hoping and believing God for, but for whatever reason, it seems like you're ready to give up. You're ready to give in. You don't think that it's working. It hasn't manifested yet. You're trying to do the right thing, and now you're getting opposition. You're wondering what is going on. Why haven't you answered me yet? And the Lord would have me to continue to speak and even experience what I just experienced with this, to say, go harder. Just keep going. Just keep pushing. Just keep doing. You know what God spoke to you. You know that you're on the right path. You know that you're doing the right thing. And there is going to come a time when He's going to say, okay, you know what? What is it that I can do for you? And at that time, when you give Him your prayer request and you let Him know that this is what I want to do, I want to be able to see this family member heal. I want to be able to see this person deliver. I want to be able to see you operate and move in my life. You're going to realize that your faith has made you whole. That your faith, that faith that you did not give up on, that faith that pushed you to keep going harder, was the very thing that allowed you and catapult you to be able to see Him and to see the manifestation of His Word coming alive in your life. I'm praying for you, as I'm praying for myself, because it is difficult, and there's a lot of times when that opposition is coming that you want to give up. But I'm praying that you won't give up. You will continue to keep pushing in, knowing that your harvest, your breakthrough, is just around the corner. In Jesus' name.